Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's the first time you're visiting. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have not already guessed by the title, today I'm going to be doing an updated top 10 wish list. And what that means is I like to keep a regular wish list going of the fragrances that I want to purchase next. Now, I filmed a few of these videos already and I try to do an updated version every 2 months or so. And I will let you know which fragrances from my previous wish list that I've purchased, but a little bit of a spoiler alert, there's lots of new ones on my latest wish list. So if you like the sound of that, then please do keep on watching. So before we get started on my updated top 10 wish list, the fragrance that I bought from my last top 10 wish list was none other than Xerjoff La Capitale, and I absolutely love it, and I'm so glad I took the plunge and purchased this fragrance. However, the other 9 fragrances on my wish list I did not go ahead and purchase. A couple of them have made it onto my newest wish list. However, most of my top 10 this time are new. So it's very exciting, and yeah, I can't wait to share with you what fragrances I am currently lusting after and hoping that I will get my hands on at some point in 2023. But I am really trying my best to not consume too much. I was in a really bad habit of buying too many fragrances. And whilst it is amazing to buy all of these fragrances, I have to be a little bit more careful because unfortunately there's so many fragrances in my current collection that I just don't have enough time to wear. And I felt like I needed to keep buying because obviously I am reviewing fragrances. So I am trying to consciously slow down a little bit. I hope you do not mind. But doing these top 10 wishlist videos really help me keep on track of the fragrances that I really want the most. And when I sit on things for a little bit of time, sometimes they drop out of the list, which means I didn't really want them that much in the first place. I hope that makes sense. So let's get started on my list. I keep a list on my phone and I update it regularly. And what I'll do, because of course I don't own these fragrances yet, is I will pop a picture of the fragrance on the screen so you can see what it looks like. So the first fragrance that I have been lusting after, and I do have a sample of this one, is by Arquiste and it is called Indigo Smoke. And this one I've only ever seen one person talk about, and I feel like it is so underrated because it is such a beautiful composition. And I headed into London. I went to a store called Bloom Perfumery and I sampled this one in person, fell in love and asked to buy a decant. So I have been playing around with it at home and I can say I absolutely love it and I'm totally obsessed with it. I've been sampling it again today. It's on my hand. I just think it is so chic. It's a tea-based fragrance, but it's very wearable, completely unisex, and I feel like it fits in with that cool girl aesthetic really well. So let me tell you the notes of Indigo Smoke. So Indigo Smoke has notes of lapsang souchong tea, vetiver, bergamot and mandarin, followed by apricot, bourbon, gaiac wood and carrot seeds. And then in the base it has mate, incense, pine tar and cedar leaves. And it is a true kind of smoky, slightly woody black tea fragrance. And I find when you normally get a tea-based fragrance, they're normally more of a green tea note, just from my personal experience. And the black tea is so gorgeous. If you like fragrances like BDK's Gris Chanel, you will probably like Arquiste Indigo Smoke. However, I would say this one is even more refined and the composition is truly special. It is a little bit woody, it's a little bit smoky, you get a teeny bit of citrus, but what I'm mostly getting is that beautiful black tea note, and it is a very unique black tea note. I will 100% be buying this at some point. I just need to make sure I spread out my purchases because I am trying to be more mindful. But yeah, I absolutely love Arquiste Indigo Smoke, and I'd highly recommend you get in a decant if you like the sound of the notes. The next fragrance on my wish list is by Christian Louboutin and it is Loubirouge. And I've been eyeing up this fragrance for quite some time because it has a note of cardamom in there and I love a cardamom note. However, when I first sampled this fragrance, I was pretty anosmic to it. I could barely smell it. And actually, I sampled this one in a video with my friend where we were testing out the Harrods fragrance advent calendar. And I was very anosmic to it at that point. However, I took a 2-week break from fragrances because I was having really bad migraines, and I can finally smell this fragrance, which is so strange. But actually, I would very much recommend you taking breaks from fragrances because it really does reset your senses. And I can smell fragrances like never before at the moment, and I'm absolutely loving it. Another thing about Loubirouge is my friend Ali actually sent me a decant of her bottle. So I have been testing it at home too. It's a very simple fragrance, so it has notes of iris, cardamom, and vanilla. But what I mostly get from it is a beautiful kind of creamy, slightly musky iris note with a little bit of cardamom and a teeny bit of vanilla. I wouldn't say it's a vanillic scent at all. I would call it more of an iris-based fragrance. It's very chic, it's very understated, and I would say it's very easy reach. Again, I would class it as a cool girl aesthetic, or if you like those kind of clean girl vibes fragrances, you might like Loubirouge. But the bottle is so gorgeous, and I do want to pick it up at some point. But I'm sure, as you probably can already guess, Louboutin fragrances are quite pricey. So again, I'm trying to be thoughtful and space out my purchases. The next fragrance is Soie Malaquais by Dries van Noten. And the bottle is so beautiful. Can we take a moment for the work of art that is the presentation? However, the fragrance or the juice inside is what has me most intrigued. I have not actually smelt this one, but it's so far up my wish list that I could potentially blind purchase this one, because there are creators out there that have reviewed this fragrance, and they are creators that have a similar taste to me, and I trust them very much. So let's go through how Soie Malaquais smells. It has top notes of blackcurrant and bergamot, middle notes of silk and rose, and then the base is chestnut and cacao. Tell me I do not need this fragrance, because I can't even persuade myself that I don't need it right now. It sounds absolutely gorgeous. And the fact that the bottle is also gorgeous is really selling it to me. And I am one of those people that probably wouldn't buy a fragrance if I didn't like the bottle, and it just is what it is. So if any of you have sampled this fragrance or own this fragrance, please do let me know your thoughts on it, because I am really trying to make a decision right now, but it sounds absolutely gorgeous. The next fragrance that I really want to purchase is by Unique Luxury, and it is called Mashumaro, which means marshmallow in Japanese. And the notes in here sound so up my street that I completely am utterly obsessed with it right now. However, I'm trying my best not to blind purchase it because it is a very pricey fragrance, and I would love to know if there is anywhere that stocks it in the UK, because I can't currently see it right now. But let's go through the notes. It has marshmallow, toasted marshmallow, cashmere wood, milk, incense, caramel, musk, muguet, rose, praline, and vanilla. And it's making my mouth water just thinking about it. And I've spoken to someone that I know that owns it, and I asked them if it was similar to commodity milk, because I thought by some of the notes it could be a little bit similar, but they assured me that it is not, and it's quite a unique fragrance. But the things that really intrigue me about this fragrance is the toasted marshmallow, the incense, the praline, and the caramel. Just sounds delicious. And again, if you own this fragrance, please do let me know your thoughts on it, because it's so high up my wish list and I can't find anywhere to even get a decant of this. So I would love to know your thoughts. Another fragrance that is on my wish list, and it has been for quite some time, is from Lilabo, and it is another 13. And I've gone through a few decants of this one, and I totally need it in my collection. And I don't know what keeps holding me back from buying it. I think because in essence, it's a kind of simple, clean fragrance. However, I know I will reach for it so much. I just don't know why I haven't purchased it yet. But it's one of those fragrances that's like your skin, but better. You're going to smell really clean, and people are going to be intrigued by how you smell, because it's not going to be like an overwhelming kind of perfume, cologne, aftershave kind of scent. It is very much a kind of naturally your skin, but better. A little bit musky, a little bit woody. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm sure many of you have sampled Another 13. It has a big dose of ISO Super E, it has pear, it has ambrette, but what I mostly personally get from it is kind of like a musky, woody vibe. And I just think it is so timeless and I absolutely need to add it to my collection. So it's back on the wish list and I'm going to be hunting it down. I'm going to try get it somewhere at a discount, but Another 13 is probably my favorite fragrance from Lilabo. The next fragrance on my wish list will probably not come as a surprise to many of you if you know my taste in fragrances, and it is by Armani Prive and it is Magenta Tanzanite. And the reason why I've been lusting after this is because of the hefty note of cardamom. And it is a slight similar vibe to other fragrances that I absolutely adore, such as Xerjoff Starlight, Fragrance du Bois, Minuit et Demi, Penhaligon's Changing Constants, and others. But the notes include cardamom, ginger, and bergamot. I'm already sold on those top notes. Middle notes are cinnamon, coffee, and myrrh. Base notes are tobacco, vanilla, and tonka bean. Now, I think this is personally a little bit stronger than Starlight and Minuit et Demi. And when I say stronger, I just think the base notes are a tad bit more dense. So like the tobacco and the myrrh really ground this fragrance and make it a little bit thicker to wear and also a little bit longer lasting. Now, Starlight and Minuit et Demi do actually last a long time on my skin, but when I have sampled Magenta Tanzanite, it sticks to me like nothing else. I'm not sure why, and I would love to know if you have the same experience with this fragrance. But you do get a hefty dose of coffee within the composition, at least how I perceive it to my nose, and then you really pick up the cardamom and ginger. I love the addition of tobacco within this fragrance, and I'm totally picking up kind of a vanillic tonka bean vibe in the base. It's a super cozy fragrance and one that I would 100% want to add to my collection at some point. Now, the next fragrance is by Initio, and it is Musk Therapy. Now, this fragrance actually grew on me because as a first impression, I wasn't that impressed with it. However, my tastes have changed and have evolved slightly, and I think that happens to everyone. And right now, I'm really enjoying those cleaner type of fragrances, the really fresh ones, effortless, kind of just grab and go. And I feel like Musk Therapy really fits the bill in that type of scent profile. Now, I think the first time I sampled it, I was a little bit underwhelmed just because it's a lot softer than the other fragrances within the Initio lineup. However, Musk Therapy is such a beautiful, musky fragrance as the name suggests, but it has this really juicy black currant note up top and a few other citruses. So let me get the notes up. So the notes include white musk, black currant, bergamot, mandarin, magnolia, hedwine, and white sandalwood. And I just think this is a fragrance I really need in my collection right now. It's the kind of thing I'm craving to wear, so I kind of wish I had it in my collection right this second. However, I have just bought another Initio fragrance, so this one might have to go on the back burner for a little longer, but I definitely want to add Musk Therapy to my collection. And I love that my tastes have changed, and it just goes to show that we should always sample fragrances more than once. Now, the last new fragrance on my wish list is by Eccentric Molecules, and it is Molecule 01. And this is kind of like an OG fragrance, I feel, within the fragrance community. And I don't know why I've never owned this one. Now, there is a bit of a backstory about why I want this fragrance. And fragrances with a dominant note of ISO Super E are great for layering. They can actually help your fragrance last longer, but most importantly, they can help them project more. And I see a lot of people using the Eccentric Molecules fragrances to layer to help them with their sillage. Now, I have been researching them quite heavily and I have sampled most of them, but the one that resonates most with me is just Molecule 01 because I think it's perfect for layering and I don't want anything too complicated. So I'll definitely be picking this up at some point. I don't know when, but you can normally get a pretty good price on it. I might just pick up the 30ml bottle. But do any of you use fragrances like Molecule 01 to enhance their other fragrances? Please do let me know down in the comments if that is a trick that you personally use, or maybe you just like wearing the fragrances on their own, because many people do wear the Eccentric Molecules fragrances on their own. Now, the last two fragrances on my top 10 wish list have stayed on the wish list from the last video. So the first one is by Goldfield and Banks, and it is Silky Wood. And I keep keep going and sampling this one anytime I'm in a department store that stocks it, and I absolutely love it. The only reason I haven't purchased it yet is because I do have fragrances that are slightly similar in my collection. However, it won't stop me buying this in the future because I think it's such a gorgeous vanilla. It's almost a very sweet, sugary vanilla, but it has beautiful woods in the base. So let me read you the notes. There's cinnamon, saffron, suede, oud, ylang ylang, jasmine, vanilla, tobacco, sandalwood, musk, and olibanum. And to be quite honest with you, I mostly just get a very vanillic sandalwood fragrance. It sounds like it's very strong when you read the note breakdown, but that's not the vibe that I personally get on my skin. And that is literally the only reason I haven't purchased it right now, because like I said, I do think it's a little bit similar to other fragrances, but it's just a really beautiful, sweet, vanillic, woody fragrance in my opinion, and I still would love to own it at some point. And the last fragrance that's remained on my wish list is by Maison Crivelli, and it is Hibiscus Mahajd. And again, I've been nursing my sample of this one and I love it. I really want to own it. I think it's an absolutely beautiful fragrance. The first time I sampled it, I wasn't too sure because the hibiscus note is pretty strong. However, the more I played with it, the more I realized it was such a beautiful composition and it gets you so many compliments. So let me read you the notes. It has hibiscus, rose, vanilla, cassis, leather, mint, ambrette, and cinnamon. Now, it is a very familiar fragrance in many ways. So to me, it smells similar to Parfums de Marly de Lina, Atomic Rose by Initio, a little bit like Roman Monegel Flamenco. However, that hibiscus note does set it apart, and the mint. I really do pick out the mint within this composition. So it takes it in a slightly different direction. It's still got a very sour vibe to me. So if you don't like the sourness of Delina, you still might not like Hibiscus Mahajd, but I feel like it definitely is one to be sampled because there's people that I know that don't like Delina, but they like Hibiscus Mahajd because it's way less rosy and it doesn't have the rhubarb. I feel like it's a very sexy fragrance. I could imagine someone on a girl's holiday or even a holiday with your partner and you're dressed up for the evening. It's a very warm, slightly sweaty occasion and you just smell like an absolute goddess. Like everyone's going to be looking at you when you're wearing Hibiscus Mahajd. So that one has remained on my wish list and I will pick it up at some point. So that is my current updated top 10 fragrance wish list. Were there any on my list that have interested you or that are also on your personal wish list? Please do let me know down in the comments below. And I will do an updated wish list video in about 2-3 months time, and I will talk through which fragrances have remained on my wish list, what ones I have purchased and what ones have been binned. But what I really want to know are what fragrances are currently on your wish list, because you know I'm going to go out of my way to research them, and I often purchase your recommendations because I have found some winning combinations from your recommendations down in the comments. So please do let me know what fragrances are on your wish list. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do let me know if you would like me to continue doing them in the future. But if you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. Of course, only if you enjoy my content, but I hope to see you all in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day and goodbye.